All right, welcome back, everybody. Today, we are diving into something really, really interesting. You guys sent this in, and I gotta say, I was immediately hooked when I saw it. It's the Bitcoin white paper, but with a twist.
Oh, yeah, this is a good one.
So we've got the original PDF, that's bitcoin.pdf for anyone following along. But what's got everyone talking is this byte sequence that's tucked away in the file.
Yeah. 6B, 43, 7D, E8, 53B4, 1757.
It's causing a bit of a stir, right?
It's causing a lot of debate, yeah.
Because, what does that even mean to most people, right?
Well, you see, if you translate that sequence from hexadecimal, it spells out CSW.
And that's where things get really interesting. Now, we've got two pieces of evidence you sent over, a technical analysis of the sequence, where it is, what it could mean, and then a whole legal argument about it.
Well, the legal argument is, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's a lot. So okay, first things first. Steganography. What is that? Because that's at the heart of this whole thing, right?
Right. Steganography is basically, it's like hiding a secret message in plain sight.
So, like, if you had a picture and there was a message hidden in the pixels or something like that.
Exactly, yeah. You could hide a message in the pixels of a digital image, and someone just looking at it would never know it was there. But someone who knew how to look for it, they could extract that message.
So we're basically saying, is CSW a hidden message in the Bitcoin white paper?
That's the million-dollar question.
And to make things even spicier, apparently there's legal precedent that says analyzing digital stuff like this PDF, could actually be used in court.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Digital forensics is becoming increasingly important in legal cases, for sure.
Whoa. Okay, so the stakes are high here. So where is this sequence? Where is this CSW hiding?
Well, it's not in the text that you read when you open the white paper.
Oh, I figured.
It's actually buried deep within the PDF structure in, get this, the compressed font data.
Okay, so the data that tells the computer how to display the fonts. Most people would never even know to look there.
Yeah, you really got to know what you're doing to even find this thing. But it's definitely there. 6B43, 7B8, 53B4, 1757. It's,
And the fact that it's hidden like that makes it seem a little suspicious?
Well, it definitely raises some eyebrows, let's put it that way.
Because if you wanted people to know, why not just, put it in the text somewhere?
Right.
Make it obvious.
Exactly. And there's another thing. The metadata of the PDF says it was exported from OpenOffice.
Okay.
But the analysis suggests that the original document might have been created in LaTeX, which is it's a typesetting system that gives you a lot more control over the fine details, like font data.
Wait, so are we saying there was some kind of switcheroo going on? Why would that matter?
Well, see, OpenOffice doesn't usually create these kinds of sequences in its output. It's just not something it typically does.
So that's not a normal thing to see?
Not really.
No. Okay, but LaTeX, on the other hand.
LaTeX gives you the ability to manipulate those finer details, to really get in there and tweak things at a low level.
So it would be possible to embed something like this intentionally if you were using LaTeX?
It wouldn't be easy, but it's definitely possible, yeah.
Okay, that makes things even more complicated. So basically we have two possibilities here. One, someone intentionally put this CSW sequence there, maybe using LaTeX. Or two, it's a total fluke, just some random quirk of the PDF compression process.
Yeah, a complete accident.
So which way are you leaning?
Well, I gotta say, the fact that this sequence spells out CSW, that's hard to ignore.
Yeah.
Random compression artifacts don't usually look like that. They're more like digital noise.
Yeah.
This is like structured, meaningful, almost too perfect to be random.
So finding CSW specifically in that order, it would be like what? Shuffling a deck of cards and getting a royal flush? Possible, but
yeah, that's a good analogy.
Not something you'd bet on.
Exactly. And this is where the legal argument gets interesting. They're saying that if experts can actually recreate this process, embedding CSW using LaTeX, then that throws some serious doubt on a whole, it's just a coincidence argument.
It's like saying, we can make this mistake happen on purpose, so maybe it wasn't a mistake after all.
Exactly. If you can replicate it, it raises a whole lot of questions.
Yeah.
Like, okay, why is it there? Why is it ordered that way? Can you find other examples of this happening in other OpenOffice PDFs?
And if they're trying to prove it was an accident, they can't use LaTeX, right?
Right. That would kind of defeat the purpose. They'd have to find other examples of this happening naturally in the wild to really make a convincing case.
All right, so we've laid down the gauntlet. Can the coincidence side hold up?
We'll find out after a quick break.
So we've kind of set a challenge out there, right? If you want to say CSW is just an accident, some random thing, well, prove it.
Right, the burden of proof is on them now.
But how would you even go about proving something like that?
Well, one way would be to look at a bunch of other PDFs.
Okay.
PDFs that we know were made using OpenOffice without any intentional manipulation.
Like a control group.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And see if those PDFs, see if they also have CSW or other sequences like that hidden in their font data.
So basically, you're trying to establish like a baseline. What's normal? What kind of random stuff actually shows up in these files?
Right, because if they find a bunch of examples of this happening naturally, then maybe it's not so strange to find it in the Bitcoin white paper.
But if CSW is unique to the Bitcoin white paper, that's a pretty big deal, right?
Yeah, that would be a huge red flag. That would really strengthen the case for intentional embedding.
Which leads us to the next big question, which is why? Why would someone go through all this trouble? What's the point of hiding a message like this in the first place?
Yeah, that's the real mystery, isn't it?
I mean, we've established that it's possible to do this. It's probably not just some random accident. But what's the motive?
Well, we're kind of getting into speculation territory here.
Right.
But there are a few possibilities. One is that CSW acts as a kind of like a digital fingerprint.
Oh, interesting. So a way for someone to subtly claim authorship or connection to the white paper.
Exactly.
But why do it so sneakily? Why not just come out and say, hey, I wrote this thing?
Well, maybe they couldn't at the time. Or maybe they wanted to remain anonymous. Or maybe they wanted to be able to prove it later, but not right away.
It's like a secret signature hidden in plain sight. It definitely adds to the mystery. Okay, so secret signature, that's one theory. What else?
Another possibility is that this message wasn't meant for everyone. Maybe it was just for a small group of people.
Like a secret handshake for the crypto elite.
Exactly. It would only have meaning to people who knew to look for it.
Man, this is getting more and more intriguing. So we have a secret signature. A secret handshake. What would make this kind of information valuable? Like, what would be the motive for hiding it?
Well, let's say, for example, the author wanted to prove their involvement in Bitcoin later on, maybe for legal reasons, or to claim credit.
Like an insurance policy. I was here. I did this.
Right. Or, going back to the secret handshake idea, maybe it was a way for early Bitcoin developers to communicate with each other.
To, like, verify their identities.
Exactly. It's like an early form of cryptography.
That's wild.
It shows you how powerful steganography can be, especially in the digital world, where information is so easily copied and shared.
Yeah, it makes you think, right?
It does.
I mean, we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the technical details, the legal implications, and even some possible motives. But the core question still remains. Was this intentional, or was it just a cosmic coincidence?
That's up to you to decide. We've laid out the evidence, the arguments, but the interpretation is in your hands.
We've given you the pieces of the puzzle. Now it's time to put them together.
What stands out to you the most? What resonates with your understanding of Bitcoin and its history? Do you buy the coincidence explanation? Or are you firmly in the intentional embedding camp?
There's no right or wrong answer here. We're not looking for a verdict, but a perspective.
Maybe you see a connection we haven't considered. Or maybe you have a whole new line of inquiry to explore.
This is just the beginning, right?
Exactly. This is a starting point.
A launch pad for your own investigation.
And that's what makes it so exciting. It's not about finding the answer. It's about the process of exploring, of thinking critically.
It's about the journey.
Exactly.
And who knows what you might uncover along the way. So one last thing to think about before we go. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that CSW was intentionally embedded in the Bitcoin white paper.
Okay, I'm listening.
What does that tell us? Does it change how we think about the document itself? About the author's intentions?
Does it raise new questions about the early days of Bitcoin? About the motivations of the people involved?
These are questions worth thinking about, even if we never definitively solve the CSW mystery.
It's a reminder that even in the digital age, there are still secrets out there. Hidden meanings waiting to be deciphered.
And maybe, just maybe, you'll be the one to crack the code. Until next time, happy diving. Okay, wow. My head is spinning after all that. Hexadecimal, secret signatures. We even talked about spy rocks. This CSW mystery, it really goes deep.
It really does make you realize just how much there is to uncover, even in
Yeah.
something like a PDF file, Seems so simple, but
Yeah, like an iceberg. You only see the tip, but there's this whole massive thing underneath, especially in the digital world.
absolutely, it's fascinating.
So before we finish up, let's bring it back to you, our listeners. We've gone through the evidence, the different arguments, some possible motives. What do you think?
Yeah, what stands out to you the most?
Do you think this was intentional, that someone put CSW in there on purpose? Or do you think it's just a crazy coincidence?
Like, what fits with how you understand Bitcoin and how it all started?
We've given you all the pieces, right? Now, how does the puzzle fit together for you?
And maybe you see a connection we missed, or you've got a whole new angle to explore.
Right, because this deep dive, this is just the beginning, right? It's like a launch pad.
Yeah, it's your starting point. Now it's up to you to investigate further.
And honestly, that's what I love about this stuff. It's not about finding the answer, It's about the journey, about thinking critically, really exploring the possibilities.
You never know what you might find when you start digging.
So here's one last thing to chew on as we wrap things up. Let's imagine, just for a minute, that CSW was intentional, that someone put it there on purpose.
Okay, yeah.
What does that mean? Does it change how you view the whole Bitcoin white paper?
Does it make you question the author's intentions?
Does it raise new questions about those early days of Bitcoin and why people were doing what they were doing?
It's definitely something to think about, even if we never know for sure about CSW.
Right. And I think it's a good reminder that even in this digital age, there are still secrets out there, hidden meanings waiting to be uncovered.
It's a real digital treasure hunt.
So keep searching, keep asking questions, keep diving deep. We'll be back soon with another topic that'll get those brain cells firing. Until then, happy diving, everyone!